Hi everyone and welcome to another obscure Asian story. In today's interconnected world, information is power. But what happens when this power falls into the wrong hands? What happens when the information we consume is manipulated and controlled by a single entity? This is not a dystopian novel plot, but a reality we are facing today. The protagonist of our story is China, and the plot revolves around its manipulation of global media. In 2022, a TikTok video made waves. It featured former US President Jimmy Carter declaring,
"The United States recognizes the government of the People's Republic of China as a sole legal government of China. There is but one China, and Taiwan is part of China."
This clip, shared by the Chinese state newspaper China Daily, was Beijing's way of asserting its claim over Taiwan. But here's the catch. The video didn't tell the whole story. It left out the full context of Carter's statement from December 1978, which only acknowledged China's position on Taiwan. The full statement read,
"The government of the United States of America acknowledges the Chinese position that there is but one China, and Taiwan is part of China."
This is just one example of how Beijing is trying to sway global media and public opinion. Why does this matter? Well, China's image has taken a hit recently. A survey revealed that 67% of people in 24 countries, including many in Europe, have a negative view of China. And that's a problem for Beijing. Europe and its EU member states are not just economic partners for China, they also serve as a counterbalance to the USA. So, a tarnished image in these countries could harm China's interests. China, however, has dismissed the report as a disinformation campaign from the West. But China isn't stopping at mere rejection. It's pushing back, arguing that it's a duty of Chinese media and diplomats to present the true, multidimensional and panoramic view of China to the world. It's a clash of narratives, with China determined to tell its own story. But there's more. China isn't just trying to improve its image, it's also pushing its own political and economic model as an alternative to established concepts of democracy and human rights. Since 2020, efforts have been underway to portray its system as superior. So it seems like we're witnessing a global marketing blitz by Beijing to control the narrative and reshape its image. China is pouring billions of euros each year into a grand scheme to reshape the world's perception of it, says a comprehensive report by the US State Department. The strategy, buying up content, crafting fake personas to disseminate specific messages, and using backlash to stifle any negative portrayals. This campaign could sway global decisions and jeopardize US interests. The State Department's report reveals that China has been meddling with global media through censorship, data harvesting, and sneaky acquisitions of foreign news outlets. This manipulation is a ticking time bomb, threatening to implode global freedoms and potentially triggering a drastic shrinkage in freedom of expression. In essence, it's a high-stakes game of narrative control, with China holding some powerful cards. China's information manipulation game is a complex web. It's not just about suppressing contradicting information and controlling Chinese language media. China's disinformation tactics are alarmingly sophisticated. They are creating fake personas, quashing unfavorable accounts, and even exploiting existing social, political, economic, and generational divides. The most chilling part, a cyber army that masks the source of attacks through tech, commercial, and legal means. This makes it almost impossible to trace back the source of disinformation, giving China a free pass. And there is more. China is harvesting data overseas, allowing them to even target specific individuals and organizations with censorship. This causes a drastic shrinkage in global freedom of expression, as the inflicted institutions are hesitating to challenge China's interests or criticize it. The Germany-based Mercator Institute for China Studies has unveiled a startling study. It exposes how China is manipulating the global discourse to serve its own interests. And it's not just about spreading propaganda. The Chinese leadership is deploying a sophisticated arsenal of tactics to sway public opinion in other countries. From feel-good content like beautiful landscape to classic propaganda and disinformation campaigns, China is leaving no stone unturned. They are restricting access for foreign researchers and journalists, and even controlling internet information access. Advances in artificial intelligence are enabling China to subtly plant its own propaganda on social media. It's so well disguised that it's hard to recognize it as such, and the strategy varies from country to country. In some places, Beijing is spreading positive messages and courting elites, while in others, it's using deterrence. China's control over internet access is also tightening, with data on sensitive topics like youth unemployment being taken offline. Foreigners are also facing restrictions in expressing themselves to the Chinese public. While Chinese actors enjoy open access to information spaces abroad, European actors are finding their opportunities to participate in public discourse in China severely limited. China is playing a high-stakes game of media monopoly. They are buying stakes in foreign media both publicly and behind the scenes. This gives them a platform to push Chinese government content without any labels. They are even sponsoring online influencers to amplify their narratives. But China's disinformation campaigns are not static, they're evolving. They started by targeting English and Chinese speakers on major platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Now they're spreading their tentacles across more platforms, languages, and audiences. Take the recent Meta takedown as an example. A network known as Spamouflage, which has been exposed before, made a comeback. This time it extended beyond Facebook and Instagram to about 50 other apps including TikTok, Reddit, and Pinterest. And it doesn't stop there. Beijing is deploying bots and trolls, running coordinated campaigns to drown out critical content online and flood the internet with pro-China messages. It's a sophisticated strategy of narrative control that's constantly adapting to stay one step ahead. China's manipulation of global media is a serious concern that threatens our freedom of expression. It's crucial for us to stay informed and critical of the information we consume. As consumers of news, we must question the sources of our information and seek out diverse perspectives. However, more needs to be done. Policymakers, major technology companies, civil society researchers, and ordinary users must remain vigilant. They should bear in mind the features of Beijing's latest disinformation practices and develop appropriate responses. China's disinformation campaigns are a ticking time bomb for democracies. They are not just meddling with public debate, they are undermining trust in institutions and stirring up discord among people. The result? A surge in polarization and instability. China's tactics for influencing local media narratives and suppressing critical reporting have evolved. They have been identified along 6 axes: propaganda, disinformation, censorship, and intimidation. Control of content distribution infrastructure, training and education for journalists and officials, and capture of media targeting overseas Chinese. But it's not all doom and gloom. Democracies are fighting back. They are investing resources to detect and counter these efforts. Local media and civil society are also pushing back, causing major setbacks for Beijing's information manipulation efforts. In conclusion, China's manipulation of global media is a serious concern that threatens our freedom of expression. It's crucial for us to stay informed and critical of the information we consume. We need to question our information sources and seek diverse perspectives. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time, and thanks for watching!